going live a little bit early today. There we go. All right. So that should be good. Hopefully, we have good sound. Check sound here in a minute. Everybody watching can hear me. Everybody watching can hear me. Sweet. Sound is good. Okay, let's get that backlighting closed down here. That's I need to. We are organizing the shop also on Friday. Organizing thy shop. Okay, so this is a flatter that I started with Mark McVeigh, made out of a piece of 4140, and um, he helped strike it immensely. It was just these things are a pain in the ass. Um, if you don't have a very large anvil with a very large hardy hole or a swage block that has the different holes in it that you can put your piece in. Um, this thing was hammered flat, when with a couple heats. I mean, it was ridiculous. But what I'm going to do with it, we're going to drift out the hole. And then while we have our drift in there, we'll start upsetting the strike plate here a little bit, make it a little bit wider, a little bit bigger target to hit. And that's basically it. What we're going to do this morning is just get it ready for the grind tomorrow. Let me go grab the bow tie that we did. So we ground the bow tie yesterday. Didn't quite get as much done as I wanted to. My back started acting up really bad, and just wasn't capable. So there's the bow tie ground. And what needs to happen on this is it needs to go in for a normalizing cycle, some heat cycles, and then we're going to stamp here on the, which won't stamp yet. We need to do my grinding of this. I'm way ahead of myself. But what needs to happen to this is stamp, weigh, grind, quench, temper, and then not in that particular order. Heat cycle, shit like that. As I got to thinking about it last night, we need to take more off of this. Um, anyways, it needs to be about 2.5. We're at 2.7, and about 3/4 of a pound, 2.74. Pretty close to 3/4 of a pound. So there is the bow tie, and it's pretty good. It's a little thick on this side still, but we knew that. We're going to grind that side down some more and get it ready to go. So it's almost ready. You know, we're going to get this guy to this stage today, and then we're just going to do them in batches. Now, these will get done the rest of the way off camera. You know, you guys don't need to see me hang them. You don't need to see a quench. I will show a temper though. I will do the temper. Don't need to see heat cycling. Don't need to see annealing or normalization. But we will show you how to temper these, and then it's on to finishing. So um, that's what we're doing today. Flatter, getting it to this stage. So this morning we're gonna forge on it, and I was thinking I was gonna do 2 forging sessions, but I had this flatter, never finished it. It's in a shape right now, at a stage right now, to where it only needs a single smith. It doesn't need a striker anymore. Um, the a flatter in general, to do it, I would need a striker. There's just no two ways about it, and a bigger hardy hole to do all this, because you got to upset this unless you're going to grind it all down from a large piece of steel. I don't have a hardy hole or a swage block to do it on. The swage block is on my list of things to get, and if you're curious about a swage block, you can Google that. They are super cool and tools that aren't cheap. So there's that. So there's the bow tie. We'll get that finished up. We'll do a tempering freaking video, and then here is the flatter. I'm gonna put this in the forge and close Fred down, let her get heated up, and we can talk about. I said I was gonna save my grain structure talk for Patreon, but I'm just gonna do it today. So when you're hunting for hammer handles, what you're looking for is a grain for a swinging hammer, for a hammer that you swing. So for this type of hammer right here, which is a swinging hammer, you're looking for a grain to where you can see the grain lined up like my fingers are right here. So the grain is stacked this way, going towards the head. Going into the head, it is perfectly parallel with the direction, this vertical line of the head. So you can't really see the grain there. You might be able to see the grain, how it's running north and south as I hold the hammer right there, and you can see the individual layers as it sits. That's what you're looking for, to see those layers, all right, as it sits like that. That's a swinging hammer. A striking hammer, if I can find my striking hammer, my setting hammer, there it is. Or we can use this right here. This is a top fuller hammer. Has a fuller bar on it. And this has a swinging hammer handle in it because it was an old crossbeam, but um, I wasn't a fan of the crossbeams at the time, so I did this to it. You know, I needed one of these more than I needed a crossbeam, so I made it. But A swinging hammer, boom, has grain. When you look at it from top down, so you're looking at it from the top, right there, right? Has a grain that looks like that, right? A striking hammer, you're looking for handles for a striking hammer. There's other characteristics of a striking hammer too that we'll go over. Is the grain looks just like this, minus the top. It is stacked on top of each other, and the striking hammer doesn't need to have that flexibility and rigidity that a swinging hammer does, and shock absorption that a swinging hammer does, because you don't swing it. You just hold. It's just something. It's just handle to hold on to. That's why also a lot of uh, striking hammers, they don't have necessarily a wooden handle. They literally have a metal handle on them, because you just need to hold it. It's just like my split drift that has the metal handle on it. It's just something to hold on to get your hand away from that striking hammer. And traditionally, it is a hardened tool face and a tempered striking plate, right? Also, if they do have a handle in them, a lot of times, Smiths, I haven't gotten this pro yet, but I can eventually, I'll have all my tools on a rack where the striking pieces, the top swage is here, the bottom swage is there below them, and then have all my pieces that I'm using, my top swages, is what's called a top swage, um, will have a universal handle, right? So the handle just needs to be able to fit in there, and there'll probably be a wooden handle that'll slide in almost like a pickaxe handle. It'll fit with friction. It'll be pressure fit, and to get it off, you just pop it down, put a new one on. So they'll all be sized to one size of handle. That's ideal because then they're easy to store. You can just put them in a small place, store them all there. When you need one, pull it out, grab the handle down, slide the handle on. Then you don't have a lot of these laying around with handles on them, and they can get in the way, or people think that they're a hammer and they start using them as a hammer and they're not. Um, because they look like a hammer, but they're not a hammer. They're meant for being hit. They're not meant for hitting. If that makes any sense at all. So the and you can make these out of anything, and they can be anything. It's just based on what do you need as a tool. So, and they just have to have something you can hold on to, or somebody can hold on to. I could use this to, if I had my hold fast on here of some sort, and I need to draw this out, I could walk that out lengthwise using this, or go widthwise using this, back and forth with it, come at an angle to spread it out and width. So you go at an angle at a 45 across and march it across like that. That sends it, that widens it and lengthens it. So this is a top switch, but it's a striking hammer, and, and that's the difference between it. So when you're in the store and you're looking for a hammer handle, and this goes for anything, any hammer, don't just go think that, oh, I'm going to buy a hammer handle and all hammer handles are the same. They aren't. Grain plays a huge role in what hammer type you put that in. I spent probably 45 minutes at our local hardware store, our Feed and Seed ranch type farm thing, and just taking all the hammer handles off and going through them and grabbing the striking handles. Grabbing the swinging handles. I don't make a lot of striking hammers, so I don't need a lot of striking handles. And I just go through and check my grain. I'm looking for grain like this for striking. If you can't see the grain, you see the flat of the grain. It looks like a flake or a layer. If you can see a big wide layer, Don't put it in. Don't put it in a claw hammer. Don't put it in a rounding hammer. Don't put it in any hammer you're going to be swinging with force. It will break. Period. Um, Another thing is too, if you have a 2 pound hammer or 2.5 pound, 2 to 2.5 pound hammer, and it had now you may have to modify it. You know, I modify them all the time. You know, put heavier handles in them. I'll take a 2 pound hammer, knock the handle out of it. I have it with somebody; they'll wait for them to break. But if it's like an old hammer, and I'll knock the handle out of it, widen the eye on it. So I'll drift the eye down, and then what I'll do at that point is put a 3 to 4 pound handle in it. And what that does, it allows for a much um, better hammer because you're able to swing it harder, right? You can swing that 2 pound hammer with force because you have a heavy handle in it, and it's just more wood and a bigger haft that can handle all that vibration that's happening at the point of impact. So that's my 2 cents on hammers. I know a lot of guys where they just don't give a shit. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. But to me, putting the right handle in a hammer is important. So, um, like with this guy, I'll do a whole. I'm probably gonna. I'm thinking about doing a whole series on or live shows on just rehandling or refurbishing hammerheads. So we'll take this guy right here when I finally get tired of the handles flopping around on it, and we'll do a whole refurb on it. You know, I won't take all the little mushroom pieces off here from hitting. What'll happen is I'll clean the faces. The face is refurbished. Um, may or may not. This is still pretty. We're at the hardness I want it to be at, but so I won't need to re-quench, retemper, or anything like that. But I'm gonna flip the head. So what that might end up me doing, I may have to re-quench the temper anyways, because the way I drift these a lot of times is they're drifted in conical, where the top has a smaller opening than the bottom, and it helps keep them on a little better. Um, and we may have to do that, but I'm going to be flipping this over so that it evens out because this is getting a decided bow in it or warp on one side just because coming over the top a lot of times with blacksmithing you're coming over the top a lot into small places, and what hits a lot of time is this forward edge of your face on your anvil, and that starts to deform it. A really good example of this, I don't know if I don't see it here, so maybe Rotor stopped by and picked it up. Rotor left his hammer here. Well, either way, it's his pig hammer that he forged, and it's upside down because of that very fact that, you know, hitting over the top, you know, um, and in the small areas on your anvil, it starts to mushroom over, and then you counteract that by just flipping it over and evening it out. So that's, you know, basically it. We're almost to heat here for our first drift. Note, it's all the same shit. We're just drifting down through. I probably could have done this without filming because you've already seen it, but the flatter's a little different. Luckily, it fits nice right here on this little anvil, this 100-pound Hercules, and the eye that was punched with a hydraulic hole punch at Mark McBain shop. It just sits right above my hardy hole. It's perfect distance. The flatter face hangs right down the edge of the anvil here, and everything else just kind of sits in here. One thing I may have to do is knock my magnet down here a little bit to make sure we have clearance. And I will need to run up here and grab our gloves because we were grinding last night and that head was getting pretty hot, and I needed some gloves to hold on to it. So come up here and we'll grab our gloves. Now, weighing, I don't need to weigh a flatter, so I'm not going to. Flatters don't need to have a weight. I was going to keep this flatter, but it just kind of sat around. I have a flatter that I use, not very often, but I do use it, that I made years ago. And so that's a flatter made after the little rounding hammer. And I welded a piece of high carbon steel on it. And it works out really nice for me. You know, does everything I want it to do and nothing I don't want it to do. But that's a flatter. So that's what this tool will look like when we're done. Okay. So let me tell you what, my triceps on my tong hand are sore from working out. A little bit sore on my hammer arm, but doing this all the time, it gives them a pretty good workout. My tong hand, the forearm, so my biceps are pretty big on my hammer hand. My forearm on my tong hand is a little bit bigger because you're gripping all the time, and biceps a little bit smaller. And so, along with just getting back into shape so that I'm not so fluffy. It's also conditioning myself to be able to work longer, harder here in the shop. I'm not looking to get super massive like I was in my 20s. I wasn't really that massive. I've always been kind of big, but when I was in my 20s, just working out a lot. And like I said before, I was never super trim, but I was strong, and I want to get that same strength. I have that strength. But I want to get to the point where I don't feel like a goddamn old man when I'm not. I do turn 40 this year. Okay, so here we go. Grab one of our hammers here, a 3-pound engineer's hammer. And so this is no different other than the configuration of the piece itself. That is the biggest difference with this type of hammer and doing this type of work with this hammer is the configuration. just like what we've done the whole time. We just keep drifting that until we have it. We're going to go for about an inch to begin with. Start flattening that out. Start flattening out that top on the face here for the strike plate. And then, well, once you get that a little bit widened out, I don't want it to really mushroom over. I want it to widen and fatten into the eye so that there's a nice cone-shaped strike plate. You dummy old dog. Oh, I don't want. Can you give me a different cup? The different cup. Huh? Whatever you want. Whatever there is. There's cereal. Okay. Wasn't the dog. It is my daughter bringing out coffee to me. Stop being so grumpy, Nathan. So hopefully I'm teaching a class this weekend. For some reason, I can't find in my phone the lady's information to give her a call to make sure the class is still going on. So I'm prepping also for a 8-hour intro to blacksmithing class for Saturday, and hopefully that goes off. That'll be nice. If it doesn't, then Justin and I are going to be doing something. I think we're going to be making some nail headers, but also we're going to be making a rivet header. Now, it's not talking about just making rivet heads. I'm talking about we're going to make a monkey tool that slides over the shaft of the rivet and a bottom swage that will form the initial rivet head, and then the corresponding top piece to form the other rivet head. So we're going to be playing with that. If you don't do it this weekend, we'll do it some other weekend. But then we got another class coming down outside of Dixie for the family that I made. Emma, what are you doing? Come in the door, weirdo. There's no other door. Here, hand me my coffee, you weirdo. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, man. And we're going to be doing the prosthetic class. Figuring that out, getting it fixed up. That'd be the 20th. And that's another intro to Blacks. Now, they've already taken an intro, but they wanted a refresher. So they're going to do a refresher with everybody out there at their place with their forge that they had us build for them. I got an anvil stand that I built over there over my left shoulder there. You can see underneath the chalkboard where my 66 pounder sits on. They're going to take that stand. I'm going to build another stand for that, and then get stands built for my other anvils as well. Any questions so far? Man, good coffee. Biggest thing about me working out too is I've only allowed myself 1 cup of coffee, but I think I'm going to start that Monday. 1 cup of coffee a day. I got to drink a 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water a day, and to help, hydrate. But it's going to help me across the board. One thing, if you guys are, I am looking for demonstrators as well. Let's talk a little bit about that. No, we won't talk about that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So cliffhanger. We'll also talk about how you do my classes, take my classes tomorrow um, during our live talk show. Um, I want to make sure because I'm not using Facebook anymore, and I understood that that's an easy way for people to find, but I'm just not doing it. I will not use Facebook. I have to have Facebook for the nonprofit I work for, like I've explained in the past, but I'm not going to be um, using it for any personal or business use anymore. Okay, one more sip of coffee. All right, back to work. I'll put the big hammer in the water, let it soak up some water here. We're going to go to the short sledge here. Next heat. Yeah. We need to go to the short sledge. We will be doing tongs as well this week. I mean, they're not this week. This month as a live show. I'm not sure when, but after this is all paid, I have one. All this paid work's done. I have one more paid project. It's a small knife project. Um, it'll have a paracord wrap handle on it. That's what the guy wants. So, but then I'm gonna stop, not necessarily stop pushing orders, but I mean I'll take an order when it comes in. But I'm just gonna start making, and there's a project that was put out to me to make a southwestern buoy. So we'll do that project and have it up on the website for sale. It'll have leather and everything with it. Um, I'm working on getting leather on the pieces, whether it's scabbards, blade covers, or the big carving knife, which is more of a woodsman's carver, um, but it is a kitchen knife. Um, and then for the skinners that are up there, the big chef I gave as a housewarming gift to our new neighbors as a peace offering. Sorry for the noise, type of deal. Um, they loved it, you know. They have it throwing it back at me, going, "This thing doesn't work," you know. So, um, but we're gonna start moving into just working and building the following off of Facebook and spending the year, producing, educating, and informing, and then just start working more into. I know people really like the interview shows. We'll start getting back into the shop talk stuff and start interviewing everybody again. We have better computers now with so I can use the program way better. So we might uh, redo some of them because some of them were really choppy. I know one of them that I want to redo is Billy Earls with the CCA because they're a big deal. We'll push that. Um, I believe he's going after Justin Riley this year. Justin Riley to make a one of his hatchets, his Viking style hatchets for the auction um, that they're going to have in September. So we'll do that. I still need to do Chris Lundstrom's freaking tool review. I've had it a year now, and I'm going to do a full review on the Ocularis 2x72 that he makes, that Chris Lundstrom makes. He's out of Spokane, Washington, and very accomplished bladesmith himself. I'm not sure if he has a YouTube channel, but you can look him up on Facebook. Um, just look up Chris Lundstrom, and then his uh, Ocularum something is his shop. So outstanding Smith, does really good work, and does a lot of his main focus is Damascus, but he does do some monosteel stuff. And he mainly does that for friends and family, but he mainly wants to get into that Damascus mosaics, and he's well on his way to being one of those top guys. He should here pretty soon really think about going for his. It's kind of hot right here. Getting into, since he's a blade guy through and through, um, getting in and starting his apprenticeship, journeyman, and working towards mastersmith. He really should. He's there. He may not think he's there, but he is. He's ready to go based on his work, and how he goes about his work. He's right there with anybody else pursuing it, and will most likely be a first time go all the way through every stage. So it's I think his talent is that good. So, but you're also relying on judges having a good day and shit like that. So whatever. All right, we're almost to heat. So all we're gonna do on this morning is get the eye set, not definite set, because we still have to run through the big drift, and we have to do even on the bow tie. We're gonna have to do a final drifting on that. I forgot to put that up. We have to do a final drifting. I'm pretty sure that I have to go check one of my hammer handles up there. Pretty sure it's not big enough yet, but I'll check. If it is, then we won't touch it. But this right here, I'll just put one of my hewed handles in it because it's not a swinging hammer, so it doesn't need to have all that stuff. But we're gonna get the eye up, and we're gonna make the strike plate on the top. So this has about a 3-inch flatter face on it. Gonna get a little bit smaller than that. It's a little big for a flatter. Because what a flatter is, it's for making shit flat. Making shit straight. It's for like straightening stuff out without putting marks in. And so we really got to dress it up, dress that face so there's no hard edges. So it's going to be scooped or sloped at the sloping up towards the eye on the face. So that there's a nice wide flat point right in the center, and it starts to float up way out on the edges. So you don't have any hard edges on it. Because you don't. The whole point of this is to straighten something to make it go flat without putting marks in it. So it does not do any good to make a tool that is meant to not to make something straight and not put marks in it, to then have it put marks in something. So there's going to be a lot of grinding on this to get it to where we want to have it. Um, Considerably more probably, and maybe not actually more. I may just do the strike plate and the tool face and call it good. Um, I think Brian will like that look. And then when this is done, they're going to be coming over to the shop. Brian Cook and Ben Cook are going to be coming over to the shop and spending the day over here, having fun, making shit. It's gonna be cool. So I don't. It won't be this weekend or the next weekend. It'll be one of the weekends after that. So all right. So we're gonna go big hammer, short sledge. Oh, freaking arms. Oh, my triceps are killing me. They're killing me. Ugh. It's a good it's a good pain though. I really enjoy working out. I really do. I just haven't. I fell in kind of a slump and almost like a depression, being hurt. Wait, one more heat for that. Drive that through again on the other side. Well, it wasn't really a depression, I guess. I just, like I was saying, I just continued to eat like I did when I was working out every day, and you can't do that. And I finally got a handle on what was making my body hurt, where I really couldn't get out of bed without help, and was taking painkillers and all kinds of shit all the time. Um, and so that's under control. And so it's time. It's time it just so happens to be, it's also the year I'm turning 40, and it seems like a midlife crisis, but um, I don't know. I'd rather be in shape. And plus, the kids are in sports, and, they're not, I've been looking at them, and they're just not, they think it's just going to come to them, right? They think it's just gonna, I'm gonna be good. I don't need to do it. I can eat whatever I want. And that's true when you're a kid, but when you're an athlete too. I mean, I didn't work out a lot when I was doing sports, but I was active all the time. I mean, we lived out of town. There was shit to climb on, there was shit to do. I was riding a bike all the time, and we live in town, and there's not a lot to do. It's just not. And there's a lot of crazy, stupid shit that goes on in town. And I just don't let my kids go run around town and do whatever the hell they want. And so they've gotten kind of lethargic when it comes to working out, and you know it's hurting to prove a point, but I think I need to do it, for the sake of my kids and myself, that to teach them that, yeah, you're good, but to be great at something, You got to work hard to get it. And you got to continue to work hard and continue to work hard. And when you're done being great, then you can not work so hard. But I'm still not done trying to be great. I have a craft here that I'm trying to get to master, and I can't do that, you know, being in the shape that I am. I can't speedsmith being out of shape, and I try and pride myself on being faster and better than than another person in the shop or another person in the room. You can ask David Roeder and Mike Rowley and even the little competitions. I mean, they flick me so much shit because they know that I get into it so hard that they know what buttons to push to get me off my game, and because I don't like losing to anybody, and even if it's just for fun, I need I need to be the best. Now, if I lose, I'm not mad. It's just at that point, it's just like, okay, I lost. Hey, cool, congratulations, it's good. You know, During the competition, though, it's all business. During whatever we're doing, it's all business. There's, trying to get them off their game, me trying to smith in a way that is, or use what's a coal forge versus their gas forge, and beating them. Um, it's just, I need to be able to continue to do that. And I want to do this for a long time. I don't want to ever retire from this. I want to die in my shop, plain and simple. I want to pick up a hammer one day and not remember going anywhere else. That's it. Just the lights turn out, right in my shop. That's what I want to do. And to be able to do that at an older age, I got to start working out and taking care of my body. Hold on here. I got a picture. Basketball. I gotta go. After we get done here, I need to make sure I remind my oldest daughter that there is open gym time that she needs to get scheduled if she wants to go in and start practicing. So, for those of you that want to follow me on this path, maybe need to get back into shape, lose a few extra pounds. I have a meal plan that when I was working out, that I used, and minus the carbs, minus the bread. And I tailored a workout program to target all the muscle groups within a short period of time to recondition my body. So let me know. Shoot me a message if you would like to do it with me. Okay, let's get this puppy drifted so we can do our strike plate. Might as well use the big sledge that David Spurlock brought over. He brought this over to me to say to probably get more work here than at his place. he brought it over here to me. Might as well use it. Oh, a little deep. Okay, so we're drifted out now. Show it to you guys. Boom. She's now drifted out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stick her in there and work on this. So we'll still put the drift in deep, turn it back up, and hammer down. Now this is where I wish I had a striker for this, but we'll make it happen. We're going to upset this top and get it all ready to go. So we're going to have it standing up in the forge. We'll turn the forge up a little bit. And you go get propane tomorrow. JD's propane supply here in town. And AmeriGas subsidiary. If you're looking for propane, he's a small business, hometown small business. Go to JD's Propane. You can look it up online, Google it, and really cool. He's a cool guy, outstanding guy. So I gotta go look at a resume too. Make sure that it's good to go. Yeah, I completely spaced it. Mr. Spurlock brought that big old sledge over to use here in the shop. I need to get mine for my parents. I have a 16-pounder and a 12-pounder. My parents' house. What this is also going to do as well, it's going to, and we'll rotate this as we go around this space. I need to get my shop set up, this big shop set up, so that my anvils are in place, so that, and they can be easily seen from, I can move a camera to each one to use, because ideally I would want to use the big anvil over here, right here, has a big wide face to do this on, but we're going to do it right here. This guy's tagged into the ground right now, and I need to flip it. I need to put it where all my anvils will run right down the center of the shop. Each anvil will have a place in the shop, and even the little Vulcan over there, set up for kids. Really short anvil. I'm going to take that one with me this weekend, or not this weekend, on the 20th. That anvil, and quite possibly this anvil with me. Justin Riley's going to come help teach that class. It's great. That's another one too. If you need a class, Justin Riley of Riley River Forge, hit him up. He's on Facebook. Message him. He's getting into the teaching blacksmith classes right now. I've been, showing him the ropes for a couple years now. He was my apprentice for 3 years. Been bringing him in on classes for at least 2 years now. Well, going on 2 years now. He's helped me. He's led portions of my classes. So, get out there. He's another one that teaches classes. I'm not sure of his prices yet, but you'll have to just hit him up on that. All right, we're almost to heat here. Yeah, this would almost be one heat with a striker. Almost. We're going to drive this down in there with, where'd my big hammer go? With the short sledge. I need to redo my drift there. Nose kind of got blunted. Woo, that's warm. Aha! The forge is hot, guys, just to let you know. Oh, come on. Losing precious heat here. Warm. Gets it warm. Okay. We got a good mushroom on there. It started. It's not done. Getting there though. Whew. Starting to look really good. Might even have too high of a strike plate, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I mean, could cut it off. Maybe we should do that. Yeah, let's do that. This is going to be interesting. Okay. We're just going to cut this down and then mushroom. Yeah, it was way too tall. Grab a couple more cutoff wheels here. Yeah, it just wasn't gonna. It was too much, too high, and not a good thing. Grab my other glove here too. Run through some freaking cutoff wheels, that's for sure when you're doing this hot. That is for sure. But we're gonna have a much better tool. A much better tool. We'll get that heated back up. Move the camera back in place. Have another sip of coffee. Oh, yeah, that looks way better. Oh, yeah. So that piece I cut off, about 3/4 of an inch, and it will get turned into something. It is a high carbon steel, so granted it's 4140, but I will probably just I'll draw it out and make some sort of a tool, knife, chisel, whatever, punch. I don't know. So, Friday, we're also going to be doing, I challenged my guild to a spoon, not a spoon, to a random challenge. I took everybody's name in the guild, took a bunch of items, put them on a wheel, rolled their name, 3 people to a group, and then picked an item at random for them to smith. And so there was wooden spoons on there. There was um, steel spoon, copper spoon, all kinds of shit on there. There was dice, a basket, and it was left open to interpretation. So some people made an actual basket. Um, some people may end up making a blacksmith basket. Who knows? But mine that I rolled random into with Mark McVeigh and David Spurlock was a steel spoon. Now you could forge it, you could weld it, you could do it. Doesn't matter. It had nothing to do with really blacksmithing or bladesmithing. It was just going out and making something, right? One of the coolest ones I've seen so far is Jesse Latham, another great bladesmith. He does lots of folders and lots of works with stainless a lot, titanium, and does lots of anodizing and stuff like that. But his flippers his folding knives are absolutely gorgeous. Collector quality across the board, high quality users as well. If you're not afraid to use a $400 knife every day. Um, but he's not a smith, he's a maker, and so he did a bottle opener in his style and put a knife handle on it, and he calls it the shark, and it looks like a shark. Great little bottle opener. Outstanding use of his skills. There's no real winner in this. It's just go out and make something, and make something at random, and it may or may not have anything to do with what you do as a hobby. Like one of them was make a wooden spoon, and one of our bladesmiths got that. I don't know if he's going to do it. No one's forcing anybody to do it. I just took everybody and said, hey, if you're going to do it, here's the project. Go do it. Um, and it's been fun seeing these guys, think outside the box, or if they're busy, they throw something together, but it fits parameters. Um, there was no, excuse me, there was no parameters on it had to be useful, right? So there was one on like the bearded axe. I knew if I got the bearded axe, I would have went and found one of my axe blanks and put a beard on it, an actual beard. So that's what I was gonna do if I got the bearded axe. Screw forging that bearded axe. I was gonna go have fun with it, and it would be fully functional, but it would just have a beard. Um, you know, and just having fun, and that's basically what it was all about. Just engaging people and having fun, and we've been having some issues with communication within the guild and getting people involved, and I thought that this would be a good way to start getting people more involved, and hopefully it sparks interest, but we'll see. You know, everybody thinks they're busier than what they really are, unless you're really busy. And there's a few of them out there that are super, super busy. Mike Rowley, he's a full-time teacher, coach. His girls are big-time athletes. You know, traipses around the country with them. And he's a bladesmith. Forest and fire winner, so he has a shit ton of orders he has to fill. With being a forest and fire winner comes that notoriety, and people want something from you. And good for him, and he's not able to come to a lot of things when he wants to, but this was maybe a way to help him, you know, to have people, be engaged and to get them involved. And hopefully it turns out good. So the deadline on this is Sunday. I'm going to be doing my steel spoon hand forged from a single piece of, it's going to be a cooking spoon, so it's going to be a very large spoon, hand forged from one piece of steel, and that'll be a whole live show sometime Friday. So stay tuned for that. Okay, enough bullshit. Oh. Enough bullshit. We're gonna use Bertha here. I was gonna use my 3-pounder, but I think Bertha will get the job done quicker. Especially now that we cut this off. She won't be as heavy in the ass end, so we'll have to deal with that. Hey, there she goes. Gotta reform this side on this side. Getting nice and flat, that's for sure. Okay. That's a pretty wide base to her. We need to heat her up one more time. I am gonna run my big drift through it. Just to help form that out. Not a lot of the big drift. But just to help straighten that eye back up. We got a really good upset on that. And now it's just going to be some grinding to get it back into shape. Brian's going to love this tool. Brian Cook. Another guy, Brian Cook out of Oregon. Trains horses. He's also an aspiring smith. His son is an aspiring smith. Great people. Some of the nicest people you ever meet. And him and his wife, Carly. And he's getting a flatter. He was going to get a couple of different hammers from me, but he figured it was probably better that he didn't. Because you can go buy hammers in the store, right? But you can't buy a flatter. So he ordered a flatter. I had Ben, his son, go talk to him, and they settled on a flatter. Outstanding. Yeah, I'll be able to straighten everything else out on this. So this is gonna be out freaking standing. I'm loving this. This is good shit. This has been absolutely terrible to do this from by myself to try and get that tool face on there. Oh, it's a pain in the ass. I could easily do it if I had a swage block set up on a stand. You need to slip it in there and sledgehammer it to death after upsetting it. Yeah, I'm glad we cut that 3/4 of an inch off because that's perfect height now. Okay. We don't need the big guy, this guy anymore. We'll use the 3-pounder. I'm not driving this deep. I'm just straightening out the eye. That's all I'm doing. We're not going for final form yet. If it gets to that really good look on it, then golden. Okay, she's straight. Okay, folks. There she is in all her glory. Sits good. We need to anneal her. So I'll stick her in the back. I'm also going to re-anneal the bow tie. So that'll go in the back as well. And we'll stick the flatter in the back. Get it ready. We're also going to get the dog's head in there as well. The diagonal peen for David Spurlock. And refurbish this old 3-pounder that I have, my first hammer. And we're going to get ready to forge that into something else. So close that down. We'll let those heat up, and then I'll shut it down and let it cool down. All right. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show today. I'm glad I can get a use out of this flatter that I built with Mark, other than just being sitting out there in the ground. So, and actually my dog took a shit on it. So yeah, that was great. But once again, guys, that's outstanding. We're gonna have another show tonight at 5 o'clock. I give me enough time to do all this stuff, but just in case I need it, from 8 to 11 in the morning, 3 hours. If we were going to be doing this this build. Sometimes I need all that time on projects. Other times I won't. Um, like I have been needing all the time to get to certain stages, and then cutting till the evening time for the Patreon people. So Patreon only tonight at 5. We're gonna get a bunch of hammers ground and ready to go for clench and temper and all that other good old stuff. All the hammers I put in there will get ground tonight, except for, well, we'll grind some more on the bow tie as well. But we'll mainly focus on the flatter, and we'll get the flatter done and up and ready to go. Um, Please, if you could, share these posts. Uh, like and follow, subscribe. I'm looking for followers here. I don't. It'd be nice to get monetized. It really would. It really, really would. Is it a driving force? Kind of. I'm always going to educate. I'm always going to put these out. I'm always going to do videos and live streams. I may not do too many videos anymore, mainly just live streams. Um, I may take and recut some of these into just the forging pieces, so you can just watch the drifting and the forging and stuff like that. I'll download and recut them, and then splice in the grinding, the finishing stuff. That's a big thing, is splicing the finishing. But please go out there and share the piss out of these um, as well. Share the page. If you'd like to provide some monetary sum to me, uh, there's two ways you can do it. You can buy something, um, or if you can't afford that, you can go on Patreon and you can become a patron of mine for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month, $12 a year um, will gain you access to all the closed content. Period. If you figure you can give more, give more. But $1 is a lot to some people and not a lot to other people. Every penny I have is a lot to me, so I understand that. But it helps the shop run. Um, all those funds get turned back into certain projects that are Patreon only, that the patrons have access to, the fire sales, and they're the only ones that will have access to those fire sales. The You'll have access to workshops. You'll have access to online classes for $1 a month. $1. Um, if you, like I said, if you can give more, give more. But it's not necessary. It's just a way for the shop to continually make money every month, even if it is $1. I can buy a belt for my belt sander after, if I get 4 people to pay $1, I can go buy a belt for the shop, type of deal. And then you get big time high quality tools and knives and stuff as raffles and giveaways. So we'll have a few giveaways and some raffles that are Patreon only. Um, you'll have access to all that cool shit. So and if you would like to just message and talk and bullshit, go to my website, go under online content, hit the messenger tab, um, get on the fans of Rusty Hammer Forge messenger group, and we can talk and bullshit and have fun. So, as always, everybody, stay safe out there. Be well, please be well. I've lost way too many friends and family this year, um, not to COVID, but just overall. And it's the problem is that I haven't been able to see them because of what's going on before they passed, and so it's a sad deal. Love the ones you have and love them hard because you never know. So stay safe, be well, and forge on.